Hello. Today I'm talking about books. It has been so long since I sat down to film a video just about books, and honestly I'm really excited to be doing it again. Today I'm talking all about my favorite books from last year, from 2025. I feel like I read a lot of good books and I was back in my groove of reading. It wasn't consistent like this throughout the whole year, but there were certain months where I read a lot of books, where I read a lot of good books, and overall I'm really happy with the books I discovered. I feel like last year was when I really rediscovered my taste in books, kind of figured out what I like, and read a lot of stuff that I enjoyed, and I wanted to talk about that here today. My total book number was 44, which was really good. I did not set a book goal because I really wanted to prioritize reading books that I actually wanted to read and not just trying to hit a number. And honestly, it went really well. Read a ton of literary fiction. That's most of my books were literary fiction books. That's the genre I am really most into these days. I love character-driven books. I read a couple thrillers, I read a couple horror, and also most of my reading was done via audiobook. I got really back into audiobooks last year because I would listen to them while I go on walks. It was motivation to go on walks and also motivation to read. I hope I can continue that flow this year. I think I tracked it on Storygraph, but I don't have Storygraph on my iPad, so I don't actually know what my stats are. But if I can find it, I'll put a screenshot of like my stats and stuff, because I think it's fun. But anyway, I have my Goodreads pulled up, and normally I'm a lot more organized when it comes to my book videos. Like I used to write everything down. I would write notes about what I wanted to say, and today I'm just gonna kind of wing it. I don't know. I'm just gonna go through my list and talk about my favorite books that I read. First, I did want to do like kind of honorable mentions, books that I really liked, 4 stars or above, that either weren't the most memorable, like books that I don't really think about anymore, but I still enjoyed at the time, but not enough to like make the list, you know what I mean? The first one is Paradise Rot. This book was weird, kind of disgusting, but it was fun. Eileen was actually my first read of last year, and I did really like this. It's about this girl who works as a secretary at a boys' prison. This older woman starts working there, and then she just kind of becomes obsessed with her. Milk Fed was a book I read that was really, again, weird. And also kind of gross, but I also really enjoyed it. Worry was a book I remember really liking. It was about like these 2 sisters and their relationship. The Adult, which is about a girl who goes to university. She meets a bunch of people. She meets this older woman. She gets, again, kind of obsessed with her. She gets drawn into that. That one was really good. We Were the Universe is also one that I really remember enjoying. It kind of deals with friendship and grief and motherhood. Nevada, it's a road trip book, but it's also about self-discovery and unlikely friendships. We Could Be Rats, which is focused on sister relationships and mental health and secrets and perspective. A Sharp Endless Need, which is again a coming of age story about discovering yourself and grief, identity. You can really tell the kind of books that I like. What Hunger is one I've talked about before. Again, kind of coming of age. It's also more of a revenge story. There's like this sense of rage within our main character after something happens. I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which has these like horror elements to it and messes with your perspective. It was really interesting. I haven't talked about this book yet, but I just read it last month. It was really good. It was kind of slow in the beginning, but I really liked it. And The Overnight Guest, which was just like a classic, fast-paced thriller, dual timeline, different perspectives, really good. Okay, now I'm gonna talk more in depth about some of my favorite books. These are not ranked, but I will save the best for last, I think. Out of all the books I read, I only gave 2 of them 5 stars throughout the whole year, which I did not even realize until I got like the recaps and it listed all the 5 stars. I don't know. I just wasn't very generous with my stars this year, but I don't know. I feel like I have trouble ranking things anyway. It's just a thing I noticed. So the first book I want to talk about is one that I read in January of last year. I think it was January. And that is The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue. Again, this is a literary fiction book. It's very character focused. It takes place in Ireland in 2009. It starts. It focuses a lot on friendship and relationships and kind of a little bit of self-discovery, you know. It's about this girl named Rachel, and she works at this bookshop, so that kind of setting is fun. If she meets this friend who starts working there, his name is James, and they just have all sorts of fun together. They move in together. Rachel ends up falling in love with one of her professors who is married. Of course, he's much older, and Rachel and James kind of put together this scheme to get her to spend more time with him. And then she starts getting to know the wife, and things get kind of messy. Not in like a romantic relationship sense, but just like she gets entangled in these people's lives and things get dramatic. I love it. I love the drama. I love the friendship. I love the nonsense. It was just a really enjoyable story. I definitely recommend if you like those kinds of themes. Next up is Body Grammar by Jules Omen. This, again, is very much a coming-of-age story. It's about this 18-year-old girl who has deep feelings for her best friend. They have this close friendship, but then one day, something very tragic happens. It kind of tears them apart in a way. Our main character, Lou, I don't think I said her name. Her name is Lou. She just feels very guilty, and she ends up moving to New York. She ends up getting scouted by like fashion agents, modeling agents, who are very drawn to her kind of androgynous look. So she ends up becoming a model, and she gets, you know, involved in that whole lifestyle. She meets people in that sort of space, and her life just like goes a very different way than what she imagined it would be. And like I said, this is coming of age, so there's like a lot of identity stuff, confronting her feelings and herself, and it gets like kind of messy and complicated, but it's all about herself and her identity, what she truly wants from life, you know. She never like really wanted to be a model. That was never her intention. Yeah, this book was really good. It was emotional, but it was very sweet as well. Next, I need to talk about interesting facts about space by none other than Emily Austen, who, might I just say, is probably my new favorite author, my new favorite literary fiction author. I read this book last year. I listened to this on audio actually, and I really had a good time with it. Once again, it's very character focused. It's about Enid, and she is obsessed with true crime. She's obsessed with space. She works in that kind of space science-y field. I don't remember what she does, I'm so sorry, but she does work in that kind of field. She's very knowledgeable about space. It's kind of how she connects with her mother. She tells her mother interesting facts about space, which I thought was very sweet. And it also follows her kind of navigating the relationship with her half-sisters. Are they stepsisters or half-sisters? Half-sisters after her estranged father died, and so it's kind of awkward for her, and she's kind of navigating that and wanting to be liked by them, but also not really fitting in with them at all. And then she also gets into her first serious relationship, and she also is starting to think that someone's following her, so there's this sense of paranoia within her mind, and that's like really what this book is us being in her mind. It's a very interesting place. But I really enjoyed this book. I love how focused it was on just her and her character and herself and these relationships with all the people in her life. I love Emily Austen's writing. Like, her books are very funny. All of her characters have like very dry humor, and I love it. I think her books are really entertaining without being anything like crazy plot wise. Okay, next I want to talk about Old Enough by Haley Jacobson. This is yet another coming of age story about this girl who starts college, serves as a fresh start for her, a new opportunity to leave her hometown where she has this best friend, but she has, you know, kind of weird feelings about it because of a situation that happened that was kind of traumatic. I mean, not kind of, it was a traumatic situation for her. And so college is like a fresh start. She's meeting all these kinds of new people and discovering a new version of herself and who she wants to be. But then things kind of get complicated when she is reunited with her best friend from her hometown. She's like pulled back into this weird headspace, and she is kind of conflicted on who she really wants to be and who she wants to surround herself with. But I really liked this book. Honestly, the Goodreads reviews are not great on this, but that is why you don't always trust reviews. If you're interested in a book, then just read it, because I really enjoyed this. I think this is this author's first and only novel so far, but I would definitely read anything else that she writes because it's very fun, but also again follows those themes that I really enjoy about self-discovery and identity, all that good stuff. Next on the list is something a little different, okay? I do read things other than sad identity crisis coming of age books, okay? Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson is a short little horror book. I have talked about this before, I believe. It follows this girl named Rosemary, or Ro, and she moves to this new town and she meets this girl at a farmer's market, and she just becomes obsessed with her. She becomes so obsessed with her, she goes to this farmer's market every weekend just to see her. This girl sells like cupcakes and she makes soaps and she has plants and stuff. Cute little farmer's market stand. And then they start getting to know each other, and then you remember that this is a horror book and some crazy things happen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say anything else because I think it's so fun to go into these kinds of books not knowing anything. It's not like it's a super original concept or anything, but it was really fun. I had such a good time with this book. Honestly, I feel like I wish it was a little longer. I don't say that very often, but I do wish this was a little longer. I feel like the ending, things just happened so fast. Things just got really crazy at the end, and I would have liked even more of that. Yeah, this was just so fun. If you want a quick little fast-paced horror book, I definitely recommend this one. Alright, we have now reached the top 2. The only books I gave 5 stars to. First is A Language of Limbs by Dylan Hardcastle, and you'll probably never be able to guess the themes of this book. Just kidding, it is another coming-of-age book. This one is a little bit different though, because it follows 2 characters who have kind of similar stories but are also very different. It takes place in Australia in the 70s. One of them gets kicked out of her house as a teenager because she was caught kissing her neighbor. She ends up finding this group of people who kind of accept her and new family and this new life, and she ends up being able to like have this life for herself. The other character this follows is a girl who is repressing down her feelings and trying to live a normal life. She goes to university in Sydney. She has this like steady relationship with this man, but once again she's repressing a lot of feelings, and it kind of follows the both of them throughout a decade of their lives, I think, and how they are like kind of intertwined, but they never meet. It's not like about them together. There were certain points in this book that they were in the same space where they almost meet, and you're just kind of thinking like, oh, what if? Yeah, this book was really sad. I don't know. I really recommend this book. I think it was so beautiful, and this is one that I really, really want to reread this year. I want to read it physically, but yeah, I loved it. It was so good. One of my new favorites for sure. And then we have my favorite book of the year, which is Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. Again, this is a literary fiction coming of age story about these 2 teenage girls. It takes place in Ireland in the 90s, and it is about friendship, identity, and feelings. Our main character, Lucy, has these intense feelings for her best friend, Susanna. She lives in this really conservative environment, and so she is like really having a hard time with these feelings, and she ends up kind of living this double life. She has another best friend from childhood. She ends up being with him for the sake of, you know, pleasing the people around her. So everyone is like, oh, she has a boyfriend. Oh, look, they're just like this proper little couple. oh, they're gonna end up married. And that's not what she wants. The yearning in this book is unmatched. It was so good and it was so emotional. I mean, obviously you can read this book whenever, but I read it in the summer and it really does hit in the summer. It spans over the course of a couple years. It goes through different periods of time, but it is a really good summer book. But not in like a cute fluffy beach read book. No, it's an emotional one. But it's so good and it's like one of my new favorite books ever. And with all that being said, those were my favorite books of 2025. Once again, I had a really good reading year. I found some really good books, you know, and looking back at it now, I kind of read a lot of the same kind of things, but they're different, you know. These ones are obviously more emotional. This one was more modern and funny. This one's not really about identity. She's older and has already kind of figured out who she is. This one is more about friendship. So, you know, even though all these books share similar themes, they're different enough. And I'm really looking forward to another year of reading. I would love to know what your favorite book of 2025 was. So if you feel like sharing, let me know. Also, I would love to continue doing more book videos. And just like the good old days, now I have a messy bookshelf to fix up. So I'm gonna go do that. Also, stay tuned because I have one more wrap-up-ish video, and that'll be movies, which I'm looking forward to filming. Okay, bye!